Maintaining peace will never be an easy task. Neither will it ever be a finished task.
As someone who has championed peace on an international scale, what do you believe is the most pressing issue facing global justice today?
The ethical framework we lived with in the last century, and what we've continued to live with during these first 25 years of the new millennium, is deeply flawed.
In your life path and purpose, you followed the way of peace and diplomacy, which are by essence the expressions of love and compassion.
We need to build a culture of peace, and that is the responsibility of journalists, high school teachers, university professors, religious leaders, and politicians.
In your view, what are the three most essential qualities a leader should possess to effectively promote peace and justice in their community or countries? Hi everyone, I'm Mohsinaa Ahmad. Welcome to a captivating episode of Self-Discovery Podcast, where we bring you global stories of resilience, courage, and leadership, where we explore stories of leaders shaping countries and industries across borders and making a lasting impact on this world. Today we have a distinguished guest, and it is my honor to introduce Mr. Óscar Arias Sánchez, a transformative leader who has dedicated his life to peace, democracy, and social reconstruction in Central America. President Arias is not merely a former president, but a globally recognized humanitarian and Nobel Peace Prize laureate. His most remarkable achievement came in 1987 when he was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize for his groundbreaking proposal to resolve the Central American crisis. President Arias courageously sought a negotiated solution that would remove foreign powers from the region, halt aid to anti-government guerrillas, and establish democratic principles. His plan and its core concepts profoundly influenced the peace settlements in El Salvador and Nicaragua in the early 1900s. Serving 2 terms as President of Costa Rica, duration 1986 to 1990 and 2006 to 2010, Mr. Arias has been recognized internationally with over 50 honorary degrees from prestigious institutions like Harvard, Princeton, and Dartmouth. He continues to be a beacon of hope, serving on the board of International Criminal Court's Trust Fund for Victims and championing humanitarian causes worldwide. Welcome, President Arias, to Self-Discovery Podcast. It's an honor to have you here sharing your views.
Thank you.
President Arias, your journey towards becoming a leader in peace has been remarkable. What inspired you to dedicate your life to peace and justice, and what are the 3 challenges that you faced doing so?
Well, my main purpose was to save Costa Rica from getting involved in the war that Central America was going through. I was elected in February 1986. It was the first time I became president again. But during my first government, we were in the middle of the Cold War, and the wars in Central America had become highly politicized due to Cold War rivalries. Like any political leader who is honored with the presidency of a country, I wanted to do what was right for the people of Costa Rica. And that goal was simply incompatible with a war in El Salvador, a war in Guatemala, and a war in Nicaragua. I had been elected on a platform of seeking a negotiated diplomatic solution through dialogue to these conflicts. And I truly believe that every conflict must be resolved, as far as possible, at the negotiating table, not through military force. I decided I had to write a peace plan. I drafted a peace plan, traveled around the entire world, went to Europe, met with all the European leaders, asking for their support. The 5 presidents of Central America had signed the peace plan, going against what the entire world thought. that 5 presidents who thought so differently could never agree on anything. And yet, we agreed on the key point of the peace plan. At its core, the leitmotif of the plan was this: real democracies are required in Central America in order to have lasting peace. That meant Daniel Ortega in Nicaragua would be obliged to hold an election, one that was as democratic and transparent as possible. And when the peace plan was signed, he was forced to do exactly that. And he lost. He was replaced by a woman named Violeta Chamorro. Now, to be honest, the main criticism of my peace plan was this: how can you expect a Marxist-Leninist regime to hold elections? And I had no better answer than to say, there's always a first time. I sounded very naive, very innocent, or maybe just very foolish. But the truth is, time proved me right.
Beautiful words, so inspiring. Mr. Arias, thank you so much for sharing this on this podcast with me.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.